Some call it the Heartland. Others call it America's breadbasket. Progressives call it Flyover America. But those that live there call it home.
Flyover America. Yes, I wouldn't change that for nothing in the world.
And when you go to these different places and you get to meet these different people, it is really pretty neat.
Just want to kind of be somewhere where there's more like-minded people.
I mean, I love states' rights. I love keeping things local as possible. Anytime you have a centralized government, it just makes things worse and worse and worse.
We don't want high taxes. Us Indians, we're hard workers just like the rest of America, and Donald was clearly the better choice.
But as soon as the people who voted for him know that they are in the majority, I think we will win this war against the globalists.
We're here in downtown Dallas, Texas for the Flyover America tour, where we're going to be talking to deplorables and your everyday Americans out there in flyover country. Pretty cool people meeting each other, InfoWars listeners meeting each other, networking.
My red pill experience would have been getting hold of a copy of None Dare Call It a Conspiracy, probably in the late 80s when I was around 12 years old. Like I said, I grew up in Austin, so I was one of the first. I saw Alex when he first came on. I was one of his first callers on his Access show.
And I've been listening to InfoWars for probably about 10 years or more.
I started listening to Alex Jones like in 1998. So to see the whole progress from what he started back then, and knowing all the things that I know, all of the things that I've researched, everything that he's ever said that I found interesting, that I've went and researched and found out to be the truth.
I try to listen as often as I can, and generally I do it through the podcast because my job constraints, I generally work overnight.
What's your favorite part about InfoWars?
When Alex Jones goes crazy about stuff. Because when he gets real mad about stuff, and the Tuck Buckford, I just laugh.
As far as Donald Trump and deplorables go, I guess the thing is, the way that the Democrats or leftists have been just so haughty and snobbish, I guess is the best word to say about what they would call deplorables, or really just Americans.
Probably about a year before the election, I kept hearing all these negative things about Trump, and it just didn't really make a lot of sense because I hadn't heard Trump say a whole lot of things. So I wanted to find out more about, okay, if he's really this horrible person, what's a lot of the stuff? And I just had a hard time finding it. That's about when I bumped into Alex Jones, and he started kind of having the same kind of sentiments toward it, and kind of realizing, that's when I kind of realized more of the whole matrix and how, a lot of the mainstream media, it's a lot more pronounced now, but how awful they are and how skewed it was against Trump.
So I'm Native American, like I said, and for whatever reason, we didn't have to comply with Obamacare. And so I didn't face the big fines, but my wife did. And we had to pay somewhere around $1,500 to $1,800 every year that it was in, and we don't want to pay for insurance. We eat healthy, we buy the products at InfoWars, and we stay active. So it was a burden. It cost us hundreds of dollars a year, close to several thousand a year, and we don't want it.
I changed careers. I moved on. I went and got my commercial driver's license, and from there, the industry that I was in was car parts. And after Obama's, pretty much war on, old cars with his Cash for Clunkers deal, that it pretty much destroyed everything. And from there, it just spiraled out of control, and I decided I wanted to get a job where I could actually travel and actually see America.
I've been awoke since I became a Christian in 1986. I was raised Germany by a socialist politician, brainwashed to the max, studied das Kapital, and at some point I knew this was a lie and a deception, and to usher in this new world order. And I've been looking into this for a long time prior to that. So when when Bush announced that he would usher in the New World Order, I knew that something was up. And then when Obama ran, I had researched him. I have biracial children, and I was excited initially, but then I researched him. He came out of nothing, was a Saul Alinsky disciple, and as I said, I was raised in a socialist home, so I knew the lingo immediately.
Paris Agreement to make us a third world country just for nothing. You know, it's just people aren't opening their eyes.
I'm 43. I guess I missed the whole feminist movement thing that's going on right now. I was in the military for 4 years. And, granted, I was up in Alaska, and it was kind of old school there, so I got treated bad sometimes because I was a female, but, I don't know. I think there's biological differences. I don't think that the genders are the same, and I don't know. I just think it's kind of all ridiculous.
Just the fact that that race is an issue now, this far removed from the 60s or even slavery and all that stuff back then, we're so much further along, yet for some reason it's hyped back up more than it was, decades ago, which is further away from the thing that was supposed to be the cause of all this,
There's no choice, either you have to move forward or stay where you're at. That's what Obama wants you to stay where you're at.
I owe some money because I didn't have health insurance. I'm in tremendous debt from student loans, which was my fault. I'll admit that I'm the one that signed off on it. I'm the one that thought it was a good idea, but now that I've kind of awakened, it's like I really kind of feel like I was duped, and I see it happening to so many other people that think they're doing the right thing, that want to do the right thing, and they're trusting the government, they're trusting Obama. They were trusting Obama.
The cultural difference from 8 years of Obama is palatable. I mean, I grew up in Austin, Texas, which is a very ethnically diverse city. There was never any kind of racial issues my whole life, and I grew up around every blacks, Hispanics, Middle Eastern people, Asians, everything, and there was never any issues like this in my childhood ever. And today it seems like it's been turned on its head. It's even it looks just like it was in the 60s these days, and I would say that's all directly because of Barack Obama.
I just, the thing that I just don't fall into any stereotypes. I have, my black friends, I have my lesbian friends, and, some of, my own family members are Hispanic, and it boils back and forth that you can't just bottle someone into a label. There is no label. It's America. We're Americans. You look at across the country, and I drive a truck for a living, and that's just one of those amazing things is that, I've never seen someone that fits a specific category. Everybody's different.
I know quite a few people within the Hispanic black community who are supporting Donald Trump. I have a Facebook page. I post news and several other pages, and a lot of the people who are on my page are actually of different races. Race is skin deep. It's the amount of melanin you have in your skin, and these kind of divides are artificially created by the elites to divide us. And so if people give into that, they're gonna fall for the lie. But if you see yourself as an individual who simply looks different from another individual, you'll be free. And you will not fall for the lies of the internationalists who seek to divide us and destroy us.
We're not alone, and you have no idea that you probably have Trump supporters sitting around you right now. But if we don't interact with anyone, you're not going to know they're there.
I'm Hispanic, and I'm a huge Trump supporter. My dad is a Mexican immigrant. He loves Trump. He came here legally, so I don't know if that makes a difference, but...
Yes, I did vote for Donald Trump, for President Trump. I voted for President Trump. Yes, I did.
I drive Uber, so I pick up anybody and everybody, young, old, white, black, Latino, and vast majority of the people are saying, I got Trump. So when I turn on the mainstream media and see Trump doesn't have a chance, it's going to be a landslide for Hillary, I'm telling people, no, that's not true. I got my ears to the streets. I know what people are wanting, and it's going to be Trump all the way. So I never was worried about it.
The most vote in my school, we did like a fake vote on computers. It was mostly Trump, so I didn't really have to worry much. I live in this town. It's mostly liberals. Actually, a lot of them are pretty much like Bernie supporters. But I pretty much had to keep my mouth shut when I was at school, when I was actually going to school. I had a few friends that we started talking a few times, and they were getting riled up. And I was like, okay, let's, this is ridiculous. Let's just not even talk about this. I just want to have an adult conversation without people getting crazy.
Characterizations as you're a racist, you're narrow-minded, you are a redneck, are used by the elites as a tool to silence and stifle free speech. And when you label people as such, they will no longer speak out because they're afraid to be labeled, and they know they are not these things. But by speaking their mind and speaking their opinions, they can easily be classified as one of those hot button issues.
I mean, some people, it's just so funny how some people get triggered, and I see that occasionally, and it's the simplest thing, and I don't know, it baffles me.
So they will only speak out privately, they will no longer speak out in public.
People should just come out, say what they think. If someone's offended or triggered by our views, then don't worry about it. There's plenty of us. We got your back.
Like I tell all my friends, from what I remember of Donald Trump when I was young, I remember Don King and Don Trump. That was Las Vegas, the boxing. I mean, never no racist. It was never no racist nothing. It was Donald Trump and Don King. That's what I grew up. I remember all that. And for people now to say that, oh, he was a racist, he been doing this, we never saw none of that. So how can you sit here and say that now just because he's in the position that he's in?
He wasn't an insider. We're tired of the insiders, and that's what the media didn't get, is that the people are tired of the same crew. Not that Trump is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but he was better than them just because he wasn't an insider.
Ultimately, socialism and fascism are the same thing. One is nationally focused and the other internationally. And both of them seek to implement a rule by the elite who live in pomp and circumstance, and the rest of the population is basically enslaved and completely dependent on the government. So one of the key words that socialists use is implementing government programs, making people dependent, nationalized health care. All these things are key words to listen to. The focus is always internationally, bringing us into this new order of things where everybody's equal, which can never be implemented because we're not equal, we're individuals, and we're created as such, and we're supposed to be autonomous as much as we can instead of depending on the government.
America first. I mean, it done got to the point where we have to realize we all in America, all of us. We all have our different backgrounds and everything. But where we are right now in this day and time, I mean, we could fix anything if we put our mind to it. If we put the smartest people with the computers and technology that we have, we could solve just about any problem. And that's what he seemed like he's trying to do for America. I understand we need to help the world and all that other stuff, but we have to put ourselves first, because if we don't take care of ourselves, then we're not going to be able to take care of nobody else.
And I feel like the more people that actually are able to listen to his message would find that he's actually a really great guy, and he really means the best. I mean, obviously, I don't agree with everything he does, but I think he's definitely got America in mind as his priority.
Is that what Make America Great Again means to you?
Maybe. I'm not really sure, but at least we're fixing up the country, or trying.
The whole draining the swamp, that's what America need right now.
Maybe it's getting better, but it sure wasn't a hipster thing to do to be on the alt-right, but I feel like it's becoming more and more of a starting to hit with people, and people, hopefully it doesn't get so bad until people really start to figure out, what they're doing wrong.
There's more with us than with them, and I don't think there's anything to worry about. I see the opposition, and it's not a big deal.
I had a kind of a heated conversation on Facebook with one of my friends. We've reconnected since then after the election, but yeah, she was an avid Bernie supporter, and I just kind of had to reel her back in after the whole scandal with the DNC and everything after that.
I come from Europe where there's barely any freedom left. You have no freedom of speech. If you go against the official government policy, you get arrested now. If you have a Facebook account, you speak against this unfettered immigration by Muslims, you get arrested. So America is still the freest country in the world, and so the internationalists and the elites are trying to destroy this.
But that's weird how people just look at the bad stuff or the rumors about him, but don't look at the facts. It's just people are not informed. That's the bad thing about it. Everybody should be happy we're free. It's like 4th of July again every day, for us. But
Being a crooked politician should be one of the worst crimes in the country. If you get labeled as a crooked politician, that should be like with kid crimes, something like that. For a person to be a crooked politician, because you're hurting so many people. When you decide to run for and help, or say you're gonna help so many people, and then you fail to do it, or you just choose not to do it. And I don't think Donald Trump is gonna choose to not help us. He don't need nothing else. He can't be bought off. They can't give him nothing that he don't already have.
There's a situation that happened back in the 1860s, if you haven't heard of it, called Sand Creek Massacre, where the government came out and told the Native Americans, the tribes, Cheyenne, Arapaho, come to the reservation, turn in your guns, and you're going to be made American citizens and under the government of the United States protection. We'll protect you. Kind of like they say now, turn in your guns and we'll protect you. I'll protect you. But so some of these guys did it. They went to the reservation, turned their guns in, flew the American flag over their village, and the feds came in the middle of the night and murdered them all. And we're not talking like, shot them. We're talking they shot them and also went Middle Ages on them, cut off body parts, really bad stuff. So when I hear Democrats and these guys saying, just turn the guns in, we're going to have a safer community, a safer country, then to me that's code word for saying we're getting ready to murk you. So that's my warning to people is you don't give up your guns. We're the only country, big country in the last 100 years that hasn't had to put up with having the people murdered by the government. I know one stat that they never want to talk about is all the people murdered around the world. They'll talk about kids getting killed, which of course tugs at all of our hearts, but they don't want to talk about the hundreds of millions of people that have been killed by their government over the last 100 years. The number one cause of death, which you guys talk about all the time on your show. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say. You better keep your guns because these guys, they like their position of power, and it's best just to do like the founding fathers said and have the right to bear arms.
It's America. It's America. We good over here. We good.
Let's go to Debit in Florida. Debit in Florida, you're on the air.
Great. Hey, thank you so much. Listen, I have bought your product, and I gotta say they're amazing. Anyone who's on the fence, buy it because I've got Caveman, Superman Vitality, Secret 12, Vitamin Mineral Fusion. I've got the body armor.
Wow, thank you. Wow. You're the type of listener that makes it all possible. Which nutraceutical does you like best?
I really like the Vitamin Mineral Fusion, to be honest. That's
amazing.
Really incredible. I drank it in the morning, and I swear to you, I felt incredible. Like I haven't felt in weeks. My morning was fantastic, and I love you guys. I love the InfoWars crew, and I just want to, I want to take this opportunity to tell anybody out there who's on the fence, Just buy it. You will love it. I'm telling you, I've never bought a bad product.
What you find in our news is the same thing you find in our products at InfoWarsLife.com. It's a win-win, InfoWarsLife.com.